Australia's skilled migration program could be on the brink of a major transformation. With the next federal election scheduled for Saturday, 3rd May 2025, all eyes are on what a change in government might mean, particularly for skilled migrants planning their future in Australia. Currently, the Albanese government maintains a skilled migration system designed to address workforce shortages across key sectors like healthcare, construction, IT, and education. These industries depend heavily on overseas talent, and under the current policy, the permanent migration intake sits at 190,000 places per year, with a significant portion reserved for skilled professionals. But as concerns over housing affordability, strained infrastructure, and cost of living pressures continue to grow, migration has once again become a hot-button political issue. Peter Dutton, leader of the Liberal National Coalition and former Minister for Home Affairs, is using this moment to push a very different vision for Australia's migration future. He's made no secret of his view that migration numbers are simply too high and are adding pressure to essential services and everyday life. If elected, Dutton says he would move quickly to slash migration numbers, describing the current intake as unsustainable. He argues that unless migration is drastically reduced, Australians will continue to face rising costs, longer hospital wait times, more traffic, and worsening access to housing and schools. This isn't just a campaign talking point. It could mark a serious policy shift. Dutton's approach to skilled migration appears to be less about broad nation-building and more about economic precision. He has signaled an intent to dramatically scale back the migration intake, possibly cutting it by more than 100,000 places. His preferred system would focus only on highly skilled individuals who can make an immediate and measurable contribution to Australia's economy, particularly in fields experiencing acute shortages. If Peter Dutton becomes Prime Minister, we could see a move away from the broader, points-tested migration model and toward a more tightly controlled, selective process. The general skilled migration categories, subclass 189, 190, and 491 visas, may become harder to access, with fewer invitations issued and a stronger emphasis on applicants in critical sectors like healthcare, engineering, and advanced trades. It's likely that English language requirements could become more stringent, and that work experience and even income thresholds would play a greater role in the selection process. Regional migration, which has traditionally been seen as a more accessible pathway for skilled migrants, might still be supported, but could also become more competitive. States and territories may be asked to tighten their nomination criteria. International graduates and early career professionals might face new hurdles, especially if they are not in priority fields. Dutton has also floated the idea of capping international student numbers and imposing stricter rules on post-study work visas. In short, Dutton's migration policy appears to lean heavily toward quality over quantity. And while that might appeal to voters concerned about infrastructure and housing, it could present real challenges for those hoping to build a future in Australia through skilled migration. Of course, it's important to remember that these are campaign promises, not yet policies. Whether Peter Dutton can implement such sweeping changes depends not just on winning the election, but also on gaining support in the Senate and cooperation from state and territory governments. Many industries and businesses across Australia rely heavily on migrant workers, and they may push back against policies that restrict the flow of skilled talent. Still, for those looking to migrate, it would be wise to plan for a more selective, competitive environment. The skilled migration system may become narrower, but that doesn't mean opportunity will disappear. It just means that success will depend more than ever on preparation, aligning your skills with Australia's long-term needs, improving your English, gaining relevant work experience, and staying informed. If Peter Dutton comes to power, the migration program could become smaller and more exclusive. But with the right strategy, your dream of living and working in Australia doesn't have to end. It just needs to adapt. Thanks for watching. If you want to stay ahead of migration policy shifts, election developments, and visa updates, don't forget to subscribe to Migrate Wisdom. Your journey deserves more than just hope. It deserves clarity and direction.